Welcome back to the channel, guys. For those of you that do subscribe to our channel, you've probably seen this ZL1 before in the past. A little over a year ago, I'd say, Mr. Petri shipped us this thing all the way from Washington for our 800 horsepower package. I forget the numbers it made on pump gas. I'll just say around 650 to 680 rear wheel horsepower back then, maybe even close to 700. He enjoyed it for a little while, and like I always say in my videos, customers always want more, even though they say they don't. So let me pop the hood and show you exactly what we did to this one.
Experience the thrill of unrivaled performance. Our team of experts takes your ride to the next level. From horsepower gains to custom enhancements, we deliver results. Late model Racecraft. We talking or we racing?
All right, so we went from our 800 horsepower package to, let's put a 416 cubic inch motor in it with the Magnuson 2650. Get rid of the 1.7, let's go with the 2650 and still keep it on pump gas. So that is where we started, I'll say, a month ago. 416 cubic inches, got rid of the 1.7, which was stock. We put a 2650 on it. Nice billet valve covers, low side fuel system to support the extra fuel. Still kept the LT4 mechanical fuel pump and LT4 injectors on it. And we went from, again, I think it was making close to 700 rear wheel horsepower before. I think it was like maybe 660. Now it made right over 800 rear wheel horsepower, okay? Again, the theme of we always want a little bit more. It was nice and safe on pump gas, making, I would say, between 800 and 820 rear wheel horsepower. I forget where we stopped or while I was on the dyno. And then I went and asked Justin, the sales staff, to call Mr. Petri and find out in Washington if he can get E85. He found out he could, and I just said, hey, would you like this thing to make over 900 rear wheel horsepower? We can then upgrade the fuel system and run E85, and you can go from 800 rear wheel horsepower to roughly 900 rear wheel horsepower. So with the addition of big bore mechanical, so a larger mechanical fuel pump, larger DI injectors, as well as a flex fuel sensor, we also added a P3 gauge to it. We then ran it on E85, maxing out the DI system, so it's roughly around 55, 60% ethanol. It now makes, I think we stopped at 911 rear wheel horsepower. So when Mr. Petri gets this thing home, he can run it on pump gas, drive it anywhere he wants, race it anywhere he wants, making roughly 800 rear wheel horsepower. If he knows he's gonna go on the weekends and have some fun, go to the drag strip with it, he puts I'll say E55 is where the number I'd keep it at, between E50 and E55, and this thing will make over 900 rear wheel horsepower. So you literally get the best of both worlds and still have a car that you can hop in and drive every day. AC, radio, nothing else to worry about. And we can go to the back and start talking about suspension, because I just got done driving this thing, and again, I'll say my fault, I didn't bring a tire pressure gauge out here. So let's talk a little about suspension and how these cars work and how to get them to work. So we always say that the ZL1s and the V3s and even the Blackwings, the suspension on them are pretty weak. They came from the factory, not meant to hold 1,000 horsepower, in this case like 1,050 horsepower. So we upgrade all the suspension components to make them more solid, to keep the IRS thing, IRS rear end nice and tight. CV axles, BMR suspension. In this case, this thing should be pretty, I'll say, consistent and smooth. Obviously, it's hot outside today. The tire pressure, not knowing what it's at, it was kind of walking all over the road. So guys, we are on a 17-inch wheel and tire. It's an ET Street R. This is a tire that Mr. Petri can go to the drag strip with and run 1/8 mile or 1/4 mile, leaving in first or second gear, depending on how we set it up for him. And this car should hook up on a prepped surface and just go. This thing should haul ass in the 1/8 mile and 1/4 mile. But even with a tire like this, even with the suspension that we have, y'all can see how hard it was for me, even me, to drive it. with not having the correct tire pressure. So either it is way too low, meaning like it's at probably 12 or 13, which will make it walk really bad on the big end. Again, so see how thick the sidewall is compared to a 20. The radials obviously are stiffer sidewalls than a slick, so that's why people run radials. It's easier to drive, but because of the taller sidewall, it still is soft. So with the tire pressure being low, it will want to move like a boat down track, right? And so either low tire pressure does that, or if it has too much tire pressure, like again, we might have just installed these wheels and tires yesterday, and the guys have 35 PSI in them, and we don't have enough tire tread touching the ground, making me spin down the track, making me go side to side. So it could be one or two things. And in my opinion, that's kind of what y'all just witnessed, or you're about to witness, depending on how Jason edits this video. But just a fun fact for you guys at home that do drag race or run your cars, it's not just about buying the right parts, you also have to make sure you know what your car likes. And in my case, these cars, with the weight of them, they usually like to run between 18 and 22 for what I call roll racing stuff. Even drag racing at the track, you don't usually want to drop them too much lower than that, 18, 17, because of how heavy they are. The lighter cars, you can run a little bit lower tire pressure, but you never want to go too low because it will literally, we call it the wheel beats the tire into the ground. So literally when you launch, if you have too low a tire pressure, the wheel actually bottoms out and hits the track, which you don't want that to happen. So you want them to, again, a radial, it's not like a slick. It still will wrinkle a little bit, but you don't want to have them wrinkle too much. So that being said, this thing's a handful. Mr. Petri got what he wanted as far as more horsepower. And what makes him such a cool ass customer is every time we talk to him, he's okay with doing what we suggest and what we recommend. So I wish I would have known from the get-go that he had E85 in Washington. I would have said, as soon as we got the car back, this is the way I would have went with it. But it's cool to be able to show him and y'all that, hey guys, it'll make over 800 safely on pump gas. And if you want more, it is really about the money. The mechanical fuel pump, the DI injectors, they add up quick. You're talking, that's roughly $6,000 in parts. Flex fuel sensors, another $350 in parts. That's just for the sensor itself. P3 gauge is $500, $600. So you can get to $8,000 pretty fast. And I try to tell customers, horsepower per dollar kind of goes, it drops once you start making more horsepower, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Jason? Did I say that right? Because to get from 800 to 900, it takes that much more to get there. And when you start making 900 to get to 1,000, it takes that much more money to get there. Just like drag racing. You go 11-second pass, it doesn't cost that much to go from 11 to a 10. When you start going 9s, to go from a 9 to an 8, it costs a lot of money to get there. So same thing, I just want to share with you guys, it is expensive to go from 800, 900, but the end result is a completely different car. 800 rear-wheel horsepower, one of these, versus 900 rear-wheel horsepower, completely different ball game. So again, he is the best of both worlds. I hope I didn't ramble on too much, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. And Mr. Petri, again, what makes him super badass, as soon as he gets this one home, he's gonna be sending us his C8 for a build that I can't wait to share with you guys. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on bell notifications, and you will see cool content coming our way. Until next time. The place. No idea what the guy set the tire pressure at. I'm usually anal about looking at that to see what the tire pressure is, and I did not do that. So that might be on me. I know we did the lockouts in the back. I don't know if we did all the full BMR suspension or not, but that's one of the reasons why we do, is these things try to walk. The Cadillacs and the ZL1s, the suspension on them are just weak, and we start making big power like this, it makes them want to track side to side. Don't get me wrong, the 17s with a tall sidewall on them make them even worse. You can only get so much out of it. They can't be perfect with a tall sidewall because it's so soft, so it'll make it feel like a boat, kind of, right, from side to side to side. That pull right there was kind of uncomfortable, so let me look at the log, let me see how it ran, let me check the shift points, and we can go from there. Alright, well, I'm an idiot, and I didn't check tire pressure before I left, so 100% my fault. I have no idea if these things are still completely full from when we had them installed, or if one of my guys dropped them. Don't know, so I'm gonna leave it in track mode. I'm gonna leave traction control on, and let's do a quick second gear pull and see how she does. Try to slide back. This thing rips. Oh shit. Jesus. Holy crap. As speed increases, it definitely got sketchy. Down track, I'll call it, with these tires on it. So this thing is a handful. That was traction control on. Again, it sucks not knowing the tire pressure. All right, let's do second gear one more time. Golly. All right, now that I know what's gonna do it, I feel more confident driving it. I just, normally these cars don't make me pucker up a little bit. That first pull did, and so I was kind of nervous. The second pull, that pull I was expecting it, so it wasn't as bad. Again, I really wish I had a tire gauge with me. Sorry guys, I really wish I did, because it'd be cool to show y'all draggy times as well. This thing should run, again, in these temps, I don't know, it is hot. I mean, look, it's over 100 degrees outside. A 5.3, 60 to 130. Usually this thing made, we're at 900 and I think 10 rear wheel horsepower, 911 is what it made on E55. And then on pump gas, it makes like 800 on 93. So, again, in better conditions, better air, obviously at a track, this is gonna be a bottom 5, possibly a high 4-second, 60 to 130. But in these kind of conditions, I would expect it to be a mid 5, especially with our traction problems and the heat, which is pretty insane today. But again, like driving it right now, IATs are good. Just cruising like this, air going across the heat exchanger, everything looks good. Again, the pulley isn't maxed out. I think we're only making, don't quote me, but I think around 15 pounds of boost. And again, we stop at the boost level because we run out of fuel as far as the DI goes. And maybe I explained it before this or after this, but I'll tell you all about it in the build video that I make talking in front of the car, whether Jason already showed it or not, or we're about to show it. You want me to keep talking? Was that enough?
Do you have anything else to say? Can you actually think of something else?
I don't know if I mentioned the low. I don't remember if I mentioned the low side fuel system. So yes, I could keep talking, but I'm not going to. Well, so when we did the 416, so our 800 package does not include a low side fuel system, meaning the stock fuel pump in the tank feeds the mechanical fuel pump in the injectors. When he sent it back for the 416 and the Maggie, just because we're going to run pump gas only, we do an external fuel pump. So stock fuel pump in the tank, an external fuel pump to keep fuel pressure always at least 60 PSI feeding that mechanical pump. And that setup right there was good on pump gas, as well as when we went to put E85 in it. So yeah, that's more. Whether I said it or not, I don't know.
I bet you don't have anything else to say.
I mean, the only thing
Anything
I would
else,
say is if we knew we were going to do this from the get-go, I would have recommended doing 3 or 2 fuel pumps inside the tank instead of the external to keep crazy fuel pressure here. But besides that, no, because fuel pressure still held. It still made 900 safely. DI's maxed out. It's what we want. I'm done talking.